On behalf of the organizers, the Islamic Circle of North America, a dialogue on the topic, the Quran, the Bible in the light of science. Dr. Jamal Badawi, Mr. Sam Shamon, Dr. Muhammad Naik, representing Dr. Zair Naik, and Dr. Samuel Nauman, representing Dr. William Campbell.
Tonight we are going to speak about the words of the Bible and the words of the Quran. The Arabic word alaka in the singular or alaq as the collective plural is used 6 times. Have the stages according to the Quran. Nutfa, sperm. Alaka, clot. Mudagha, piece of meat. Adam, bones. And the 5th stage, dressing the bones with muscles. Galen also taught that the embryo developed in stages. The Quranic Surah 22:5 reflects this saying. At the time of the Hijra, 4 leading medical men in Alexandria, Egypt, decided to form a medical school, using 16 books of Galen as the basis of the studies. Ample opportunity for Muhammad and the people around him to have heard of the embryological theories of Aristotle, Hippocrates, and Galen when they went to seek treatment from Harith ben Kalada and other local doctors. Thirdly, these verses say that the chewed meat becomes bones, and then the bones are covered with muscle. They give the impression that first the skeleton is formed, and then it is clothed with flesh, and Dr. Bukai knows perfectly well that this is not true. At the end of the 8th week, there are only a few centers of ossification started, but the fetus is already able to make muscular movement. He proposes that instead of clot, the word alaka should be translated as something which clings. This is what Dr. Moore wants to say looks like a leech. Finally, this diagram shows it's got a yolk sac, it's got an umbilicus, it doesn't look like a leech at all. If the correct translation of alaka is leech-like substance, as modern Muslims like Shabir Ali claim, the only way to establish the meaning of the word is by usage. From the literature of the Arabs of Mecca and Medina, close to the time of Muhammad. Work has already been done on the clear Arabic of the Quraysh, and considering that which was common knowledge, the embryological stages as taught by the Greek physicians. Faith in the embryological ideas of Aristotle, Hippocrates, and Galen continued among the Arabs right up to the 1600s. Ibn Sina, or Avicenna. Ibn Qayyim took full advantage of the agreement between Quranic revelation and Greek medicine. And in North Africa, both of these meanings are still used. Many patients have come to me to ask for a clot to be removed from their throat. And many women have come to me and told me their period didn't come. When I say, I'm sorry, I can't give you medicine to bring your period because I believe that's a baby, they would say, Mazel dim, it's still blood. May the God of all truth guide you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I call upon Dr. Zair Naik to present his talk.
Respected Dr. William Campbell, Dr. Maracas, Dr. Jamal Badawi, Brother Samuel Nauman, Dr. Muhammad Naik, my respected elders, and my dear brothers and sisters. I welcome all of you with the Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The topic of today's dialogue is the Quran and the Bible in the light of science. For any book to claim that it is a revelation from Almighty God, it should stand the test of time. Previously in the olden days, it was the age of miracles. Alhamdulillah. The Quran is the miracle of miracles. Later on came the age of literature and poetry. And Muslims and non-Muslims alike, they claim the glorious Quran to be the best Arabic literature available on the face of the earth. But today is the age of science and technology. This Bible, according to us, it may contain the words of God, but it also contains words of prophets, words of historians. It contains absurdities. obscenity as well as innumerable scientific errors. There was one primary nebula which later on it separated with a Big Bang, which gave rise to galaxies, stars, sun, and the earth we live in. Let us analyze whether the Quran is compatible or incompatible with modern science. A few decades earlier, they described how the universe came into existence. Surah Anbiya, chapter 21, verse number 30, which says, heaven and the earth were joined together, and we clove them asunder. Book of Genesis, first chapter, it's mentioned. It says, Almighty God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and that the universe cannot be created in a 24-hour period. Earth was created on third day. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 to 19 says, the sun and the moon was created on the fourth day. Today it cannot come into existence before the sun. It's unscientific.
All the dirt in the solar system was drawn into this little bitty tiny dot, and it was spinning. It spun faster and faster, and all of a sudden, it exploded, Big Bang. And the pieces that flew off became galaxies and sun, moon, stars. If a spinning object breaks apart, the pieces that fly off are going to spin the same direction. If the universe began as a spinning dot, like you said, why do 2 planets spin backwards and galaxies spin backwards? I was hoping he was going to ask that. I said, sir, it's real simple. You see, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and God did it that way on purpose just to make the Big Bang Theory look stupid.
I know William Campbell mentioned 4 stages. In his book, he mentions 4A and B. The last one he didn't mention in the slide, I don't know why. It says that replenishing the water table. He missed out here, maybe because it's not mentioned in the Bible. He said there is not a single verse in the Quran which speaks about evaporation. In Surah Tariq, chapter number 86, verse number 11, Rajus Sama, that by the capacity of the heavens to return. The Quran speaks about the water cycle in great detail in several places. In Surah Nur, chapter number 24, verse number 43. In Surah Rum, chapter number 30, verse 48. In Surah Az-Zumar, chapter 39, verse 21. In Surah Mu'minun, chapter 23, verse number 18. In Surah Rum, chapter number 30, verse number 24. In Surah Al-Hijr, chapter 15, verse number 22. In Surah Araf, chapter number 7, verse number 57. In Surah Ra'd, chapter number 13, verse number 17. In Surah Furqan, chapter 25, verse number 40 and 49. In Surah Fatir, chapter number 35, verse number 9. In Surah Yasin, chapter 36, verse number 34. In Surah Jasha, chapter 45, verse number 5. In Surah Qaf, chapter number 50, verse number 9. In Surah Waqia, chapter number 56, verse number 16 and 17. Several places. Surah Mulk, chapter 67, verse number 30. The glorious Quran speaks about the water cycle in great detail.
Like I said, unfortunately, Naik pulverized them, overwhelmed him, not because of facts, but because Campbell was too old, too slow, not a gifted speaker. And so, in the eyes of the Muslim, it was a landslide victory.
I want to make it very clear to my Christian brothers and sisters. The purpose of my presentation on Bible and science is not to hurt any Christian's feeling. As far as Dr. William Campbell is concerned, I can be more liberal with him because he has written a book, Quran, Bible in the Light of History and Science. But the Quran was not meant only for the Arabs of that time. Quran is not meant only for the Muslims. The Quran is meant for the whole of humanity. If I show this book, it looks like a rectangle. If I show you like that, it's a different perspective. This is the photograph of a leech and human embryo. What Dr. William Campbell showed you is the other perspective of it. Genesis chapter number 1, verse number 11 to 13. The vegetation, the herbs, the shrubs, the trees, they were created on the third day. And the sun, Genesis chapter number 1, verse 14 to 19, was created on the fourth day. How can the vegetation come into existence without sunlight? And how can they survive without sunlight?